I knew we do have one proxy, Steve Fisher. And I have the letter. Steve Fisher will be sitting in or will be the proxy for Sue Hazelden today.
Yeah, let's go around and do attendance just to make sure.
You got it, Mary Liz.
Yeah, all right. Let's start with Shawnee Bundy.
Steve McMahon, MPO.
Mary, Lackawanna County Planning.
Dan Reese, Luzerne County Planning.
Robin Zoll, Luzerne County Transportation Planner.
Jessica Edwards, Lackawanna County Planning.
Eric Middleton, Lackawanna County Planning. Executive Director of Wilkes-Barre Scranton International, Carl Beardsley.
Steve Fisher, PennDOT District 4, Planning and Programming.
Barb Howe, Freeman Peterson, representing Lackawanna County as county engineer.
Rich Roman from PennDOT District 4. Bob Kuhn, Missouri County Transportation Director. Mark Barry, City of Wilkes-Barre.
Chris Chapman, GADCD. Steve Petoniak, Lackawanna County, Tech Transportation Advisory.
John Petrini, District 4, Planning and Programming.
For planning and programming.
Stephen Bullen, Wilkes-Barre Scranton.
Bill Harris. Bill Harris, City of Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, we guys still have some.
Michelle Bennett, City of Carbondale.
Neighbor works.
And then we have the online.
Tom Riley, from City of Scranton.
Marie Bishop, Planning and Programming Manager, District 4.
Dean Roberts, PennDOT Central Office and Technical Committee Chair.
Kathy Bednar, Grants Coordinator, LCTA.
Bernie McGurl, Lackawanna River Conservation Association.
Warren Clark, Scranton Area Foundation, NEPA Moves.
Jim McGrath, Colts.
Sorry, Christine DeTore, DCNR.
Owen Warsman, Lackawanna Heritage Valley.
Mike Danchak, Director of Finance, Cool.
Gene Proshak, Federal Highway.
Liz Rosenkrantz, Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor.
Romilda Crocamo, Luzerne County Manager.
Candy Fry, PennDOT Bridge.
Stephanie Molesky, Transportation Advisory Committee.
Can we hear the last two again, please?
Before Stephanie.
Candy Fry, LR Costanzo.
Dory Babinski, PennDOT Bridge.
Did we get everybody? Okay, Dean, I guess.
Okay, back over to me. Great. This is my usual spiel here. As per the requirements of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act and federal public notices requirements, this meeting was advertised in the Scranton Times, Wilkes-Barre Citizens Voice, and Hazleton Standard Speaker. The meeting and agenda were posted on the LLTS MPO website more than 24 hours prior to the meeting to meet the requirements of the Sunshine Act. Did we have any requests? I know we have, I believe we have somebody here from Carbondale Borough.
City.
Carbondale City. I am very sorry about that. So do we have anyone else from the public or anything like that? Or I think we got everybody correct. Okay, great. And I believe as going through, that'll take us down to item number 1. The draft UPWP public comment. This document, I believe Robert was putting together some stuff for this document for the last couple months. It was reviewed by FHWA, put up for public comment. Is there anybody that wants to make a note or has a comment about the Lackawanna Luzerne Transportation Study, MPO UPWP? Just to let everybody know, to get this off cycle with the tip development, we went through a 1 year, or we're currently in a 1 year cycle. Usually we do them 2 years. All the planning partners thought it'd be pretty good that if we do not update the UPWP and our tips on the same year. So we had a 1 year cycle, and then we're back onto a 2 year cycle. Basically, this is what you say it is. It's the work program. It's what the MPO, it's their list of tasks that they think they're going to do for the next year, next 2 years, and the products they're going to provide. Everything from administration to management of the tip and traffic counts and so on, so forth. Hearing no public comment. Robert, do we need a motion to approve?
No, well, I do have that, yes, other action items.
Okay. Okay. You want to wait until we get to it down there?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. That'll take us to public comment, public comment, discussion of items not listed on the agenda. And I'm thinking, is this where we want to entertain the folks from Carbondale?
I know we have them listed under our discussion items.
Gotcha.
But
is there anyone else who has anything, bring up any discussion items not listed on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll move on to item 3, action items. Approval of the October 8th, 2024 Combined Technical and Coordinating Committee meeting minutes. You can take a moment to look over that. Trying to be as professional as I can today since Steve Petoniak is in the audience.
you're doing a good job, so.
Thank you, Steve. Does anybody want to make a notation or comment on the meeting minutes? If not, may I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the October 8th Combined Technical Coordinating Committee meeting minutes?
Kate McMahon, I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Kate. And if you make the motion or second, could you give your name, please, so we have a record of it? Do I hear a second for the motion?
I'll second. It's Mary Liz.
Mary Liz. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That takes us down to 3B, approval of the December 18th special informational meeting concerning the freight plan meeting minutes. Yes.
Coordinating committee.
Geez, I've done it again. All right. Sorry, Bob.
That's okay, Dean. Thanks. The motion from the coordinating committee to approve the October 8th, 2024 Combined Technical Coordinating Committee meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Rich Roman, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Rich. Do we have a second?
Second by Romilda.
By Romilda. Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all yours, Dean.
Hey, thanks, Bob. I'll mind my P's and Q's going forward. That takes them down to action item 3B, approval of the December 18th special informational meeting concerning the freight plan meeting minutes. Mary Liz, did you want to mention anything about it before we go ahead and approve the minutes, or?
It was an informational meeting. It was open to the public, to the committees as well, on the Eastern PA freight plan that's on the agenda today. And there was a few comments, and it was a well attended meeting.
Wonderful. With Liz's little synopsis, do I hear a motion to approve the December 18th special informational meeting concerning the freight plan meeting minutes?
Kate McMahon, I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Kate. Do I hear a second? Was that you, Steve Fisher? Did you second it?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Feeling some big shoes.
With that said, all in favor of the special freight plan meeting minutes?
Aye.
Say aye. Okay. All opposed? No. I think motion carries. I think this then goes to you, Bob.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the December 18th official meeting concerning freight plan. I need a motion for it.
Motion, Mark.
Motion by Mark, and a second for Milda. Questions, all in favor? Opposed?
Yes.
All yours, David.
Thank you. That takes us down to the 2025 tip and actions. Covered individually. I believe, Steve, I'll let you go first and talk about any highway and bridge actions.
Okay, Dean, thanks. The majority of the information in this packet is administrative and for information purposes only. However, we do have, in addition to some reaffirmations that we're going to do after this, we have an amendment first to cover, and this is for the Sweet Valley Road Improvement Project. If you want to click back to that quickly. Okay, so the Sweet Valley project is additional funds to the region. This is an earmark project. So the addition of any federal funds according to our bylaws, has to be voted on, even though they are addition to the region and will essentially be added to the program. So this project is county road in Luzerne County. Maybe somebody's more familiar with it than I am in regards to location, but I know they will be doing basic improvements, restoration of the roadway and drainage where necessary, minor guide rail updates and that sort of thing. So again, this is additional funds to the region, and when this project is ready, we will be letting it. The agreement, I believe, is in process at this time. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but yeah, this is the addition of the Sweet Valley project for 1.5.
Yes.
Yeah, for 1.5 million in federal funds.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve on the Sweet Valley Road Improvement Project? Hearing none, I'd like to hear a motion. May I hear a motion to approve the MPMS 119725 Sweet Valley Road Improvement Project to the LLTS MPO 2025 program?
Motion, Stephen Bullock.
Thank you, Steve. Do I hear a second?
This is Barbara Howell, second.
Second. Okay, thank you very much. All in favor of adding the Sweet Valley Road Improvement Projects to LLTS MPO 2025 program?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Over to you, Bob.
Okay, need a motion from the coordinating committee to approve the MPMS 119 Valley Road into the 2025 motion. Richard, you wanna make a motion by Rich? Second. I'll second. Richard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Here's a.
Okay, thanks, Bob. That takes us down to item 3D, tip reaffirmation of a number of actions we had, votes we had over the past couple months. And I think, Steve, I didn't know what, Steve, if you wanted to say anything on the first three there.
Yeah, I could spill it out a little bit. For Elm Street, this project was previously programmed on the 2023 tip. We obligated it and it was partially advanced constructed. So we didn't carry it on the 25 since it was essentially going to be bid on the 23. However, we had to account for it and the cash flow on the 25 program. So this is the addition of approximately $5 million to the 25 program. Sansui, this project received its environmental clearance on the 2023 program towards the end of the federal fiscal year. So we obligated this on the 23 program and did not carry it on the 25. So we had to account for the advanced construct portion on the 25 program. So it needed to be added as well. And then for the last one, Amendment 3 there, this is the SR 435 bridge replacement projects. And primarily this had a significant increase due to a few factors. There's a temporary runaround associated with this structure that required some different items and environmental mitigation and that sort of thing. In addition, there was some from the time of January when we first estimated this project to the time of letting, which will be January 16th of 25. There were some inflationary factors that were built in and it caused the cost increase to this project. So these are the three amendments that we are essentially reaffirming, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Steve. I'll go ahead and mention the transit one. If you look at the very last one, a couple years ago, we part of the 25 million statewide flex, Colts received, I believe it was 1.7 million of STP funds from our statewide transit flex reserve. The issue was we did not, while the funds were flexed, we didn't get to the project, or the grant wasn't executed. I believe we're making a motion to put this back on this program, even though it was on a program, I think 2 programs ago. I believe one of the things Congress is looking at, FTA or the U.S. Department of Transportation, is that we've been flexing funds to transit, and sometimes these funds sit out there. So it seems to be that there's some attention to that, at least last couple years. So this was just an action we took a vote on sometimes before Christmas. It was approved. The ESTIP is now with FTA, and they are doing whatever internal reviews they need to do. Is there any question on the Colts highway flex? Hearing none. Hearing none, if I can get a motion to reaffirm the tip actions from the 2025 program as mentioned above.
I'll make
Is it
that
just-
motion. Tom Riley.
Is it just a coordinating committee?
No, I am still tech.
I know, but it says on here
Yeah.
coordinating committee only.
Oh, boy. Okay. Then Bob, it's you. That's mistake number 2.
Okay, one more.
Hey, thanks for stepping it up there. I don't know, Kate, I'm counting 3. On there next.
I'm going to get fired.
Okay, ask for a motion from the coordinating committee to reaffirm the tip actions for the 2025 program as just reviewed.
Rich Roman, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Rich,
Mark Barry, I'll second.
Mark, second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We only have 3 more, Dean.
Thanks, Bob.
No.
Thanks, Bob. That'll take us to item 3E, approval of the 2025-2027 UPWP. Robert, I didn't know if you or Mary Liz wanted to go through and give a brief summary of the document. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, well, like you mentioned before, previously, we had the 1-year UPWP, and now we switched back to a 2-year. So this basically outlines the work that we're planning on doing, from 25 to 27. It just kind of outlines the work that we're proposing. So some of the cool points in here is that we've brought the Amtrak line into consideration. We've been included a map of the proposed route of the Amtrak line. And there's a couple statements in here, that we should analyze and, prepare for that any way we can. Another item that was introduced is part of the federal certification review. We're going to be having an MOU between the transit agencies. And Dan is going to be speaking about that a little later. So we've incorporated the changes from our federal certification reviews and their recommendations in here. So looking pretty good. Sure.
Great. Is there any questions for Robert on the 2025-2027 UPWP? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the 2025-2027 UPWP?
Hey, McMahon, I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Kate. Do I hear a second?
Barbara Howe, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
All opposed? Motion carries. That'll bring us down to item 3F, approval of the Eastern Pennsylvania Freight Infrastructure Plan. I believe we talked about the minutes up there. Geez, that's straight. All right. Sorry, Bob.
That's all right. Need a motion from the coordinating committee to approve the 2025-2027 UPW.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Milda,
Yes.
Tim McGrath, second.
I'm sorry, who second? Okay, Tim,
Yes.
any questions? All in favor? Okay, Dana.
Thanks, Bob. I apologize to all. Takes us down to 3F, approval of the Eastern Pennsylvania Freight Infrastructure Plan, which I believe we mentioned up above. And Mary Liz, were you going to give a summary of?
Yes, this is the Eastern Pennsylvania Freight Alliance with the 4 other MPOs in the eastern part of the state. We've been working on this plan for about 2 years. I believe Lehigh Valley's adopted, Needham's adopted, Steve Charmante's on from WSPR Consultant. Steve, if you have any other comments you'd like to make or anything on the plan.
No, this LLTS would be the third MPO to adopt it. Reading is slated to adopt it tomorrow. And then that leaves Lebanon County, who is looking to adopt it. Probably, I think their next coordinated committee meeting is March. But you know, I'm happy to answer any last questions that folks may have about the plan or where it goes from here. But excited to see it get adopted after, as you heard, we've been at this for about 2 years. So lots of effort, lots of great freight data in there, and thrilled to see it get to this point.
And the next phase after the adoption by all the MPOs will be a memorandum of understanding or agreement with the 5 MPOs to start implementing some of the recommendations and the goals and plans. It's not going to just sit on a shelf. We're going to hopefully be moving forward.
Thanks, Mary Liz. Any questions for Mary Liz on the Eastern Pennsylvania Freight Infrastructure Plan? Hearing none, may I hear a motion to approve the Eastern Pennsylvania Infrastructure Plan as presented?
I'll make the motion. Here it is.
Thank you, Mary Liz. Do I hear a second?
Steve McCollum, second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Bob?
Okay, we need a motion from the Coordinating Committee for the Eastern Pennsylvania Freight Infrastructure. We have that motion. Rich Roman, I'll make the motion. Motion by Rich. Second.
Romilda will second.
Mel, the second. Question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Yours, Dave.
Thanks, Bob. Brings us down to 3G, approval of the statewide performance measures or PM1 safety targets. This is the one PM that performance measure that is approved every year. I believe it's a rolling 5-year average. Robert, I didn't know if you were planning to discuss a little bit on this, or you and Mary Liz, but the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, this is a recent statewide targets that have been given to us. Year after year, we vote in the statewide targets. We actually just introduced this in our LRTP also, and had a discussion about it where the average number of fatalities listed, and we're always striving to bring that number down between the LRTP and the Safe Streets that Mary Liz and Lackawanna and Luzerne are starting. So this is very important data, and it's definitely something that we want to share with everybody because it's something that we all need to work on as a group. Try to lower those numbers.
Thanks, Robert. I'll just add that what we're approving here is supporting the statewide goals for the area. Some areas develop their own goals, but it is rather labor intensive. Some areas have tried it and then have just turned around and then have adopted the statewide figures. So just trying to make that clear. So with that said, do I have an approval of the statewide performance measure PM1 safety targets?
Kate McMahon, I'll make the motion.
Oh, thank you, Kate. Do I have a second to that?
This is Barbara Towell, second it.
Thank you very much. All in favor of the statewide performance measures PM1 safety targets?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Bob, over to you.
Okay, we have a motion from the coordinating committee for the approval of the statewide performance measures. Safety part. Motion. Mark, motion. Mark, motion, second. Rich Romans, second. Question? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All yours, Dean.
Thanks, Bob. That finally brings us down to item 4, discussion items, spring project commencement, and I'll turn it over to Robert and Eric.
Thanks, Dean. I'll start for Lackawanna County. First, we're starting off with project 115720. This is the bridge preservation on State Route 3020, Linden Street over Lackawanna County Railroad in the city of Scranton. The average annual daily traffic is 7,363, and this let on the 9th. Next, we have project 8191. This is a bridge replacement on State Route 435, Drinker Pike over Lackawanna County Railroad Authority in Elmhurst. The average annual daily traffic is 6,659, and this let on the 9th as well. Next is project 109778, and this is a bridge replacement on State Route 435 as well, Drinker Pike over Roaring Brook in Elmhurst. The average annual daily traffic is 6,659 and also let on the 9th. Lastly, in Lackawanna is project 113723. This is a roadway improvement on State Route 632, Commerce Drive at the intersection with State Route 1025, Wimberley Hills Road, and that's in Scott Township. The average annual daily traffic is 2,961, and this will let on February 13th. Rob, I'll kick it to you.
Okay, for Luzerne County, we have MPMS number 121029. This is a bridge preservation on State Route 11, which is Exeter Avenue over SR 2037 Kennedy Boulevard. Susquehanna River and the railroad in West Pittston Borough, Luzerne County. You have the average daily traffic is 12,323, and this is scheduled to be let on January 9th. Next one for Luzerne County is MPMS number 118778. This is a bridge preservation on State Route 4018, Bonneville Road over Pine Creek in Huntington Township. The average daily traffic is 136, and is scheduled to be let on January 30th.
Any questions for Eric or Robert?
Dean, this is Rich Roman. I just have a comment on the jobs.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
The second job, Robert, or the first job that you mentioned, the bridge in Pittston.
Yeah.
Just so everyone's clear, and is aware of it, that, we have the Fort Jenkins Water Street project, which we're in design. This is an interim project to keep the Route 11 bridge open. So this is an interim fix until we get to the job in 5 or 6 years. So just so everybody knows, especially the locals in the area or the folks in Luzerne County, when they see construction activity in the spring, this isn't the big $120 million job. This is a $5 to $7 million job to keep the bridge alive until the big job. So we're spending money on a bridge that we're going to replace, so we don't have to post it or close it or have any issues until we replace it. That kind of indicates the condition that the bridge is in, but I just don't want people to think, oh, you're starting a big job now. Just so everybody
Thank you.
knows that. Internally at PennDOT, we're discussing putting out a press release when we get to that point, just again, so everybody knows that it's not the big job that we're having all the public meetings for and all the other things.
I think there's any traffic. That part already is with the other books.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be impact, I mean, probably short-term lane closures. Much as they could do underneath. Yeah.
Hey, thanks,
Thank
Rich.
you.
Thanks, Rich. Any other questions for Rich or anyone from the district or Robert or Eric? Hearing nothing, I'll move down to discussion item B, annual obligations. This makes our federal partners happy because it was a corrective action a couple years ago. But Eric, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thanks, Dean. Because the LLTS MPO is a federally mandated organization through which the federal transportation funds are distributed, planned, and programmed, we are required to do this after every federal fiscal year. And I'd just like to say thank you to PennDOT and our transit agencies. We wouldn't be able to do this as a staff without them. So thank you for all the helpful information you provided to make this possible. And it's available on the LLTS MPO website for anyone who wishes to view it. And as always, if there are any comments, questions, or concerns, please direct those towards the MPO staff.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Any questions for Eric or on any projects on the annual list of obligations? Hearing none, that'll take us down to discussion item C, the transit MOU, which was a corrective action that came out of the LLTS certification review. It seems to be that this is also something our federal partners, FHWA and FTA, have listed in as a recommendation of this STIP planning finding. So Dan, I have you down. I didn't know if you wanted to go in a little more detail, but you're more than welcome, sir.
Yeah, like Dean said, this was one of the action items from the certification review from last May. That was approved this November. We put together a draft, we're reviewing it internally, and then the next steps. The MPO, PennDOT, and the three transit providers in the LLTS region.
Thanks, Dan. The only thing I wanted to ask you is when you're going to need an MOU of people to sign, is that central office or were you looking for the district to sign?
I'll have to look back at the action item. I think it's just the district. I don't think it's
Okay.
I'll double check. Double check what they want.
Thanks, Dan. Any questions on the transit MOU? Dan, you were a little choppy here, sitting here all the way down Harrisburg. Do you have do we have an idea when we want to have signatures and have this approved? Would that be next meeting or the July meeting?
I would like to have it done by the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Works wonderful.
If we can.
Thank you,
Get it
sir.
over.
Thank you, sir. If there's any more questions for Dan on the transit MOU? Hearing none, that'll take us down to discussion item D, Main Street Matters Grant, Carbondale Roundabout. I have Todd. Todd, I have you on the agenda.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate the opportunity to come here and share a little bit about this project. I'm Todd Woodsley, the Director of Community Development and Neighborhoods. We're based in Scranton. We're a housing community development organization. We've been working with the city of Carbondale on a variety of exciting projects. Mayor Michelle Bannon is here with us today. One of the things that we recently completed was a 10-year neighborhood revitalization plan. This was a result of some work we did over the past couple of years, some community engagement work, planning process to find some ways of getting through. Basically, the neighborhood that kind of immediately adjacent to Carbondale downtown. This plan, we've got kind of a specific target area in the city that we're focusing on. There's a whole list of goals and objectives that we're trying to accomplish. What I'm here today to talk a little bit about, I want to go to page 32. Is kind of a proposed improvements to an intersection. For anybody familiar with Carbondale, it's kind of the top of Main Street, Carbondale downtown, and through the planning process, we identified kind of a few issues here with this particular intersection that we're hoping to rectify. Three main goals with this project. One would be to improve safety at this intersection. It's a little bit of an unusual intersection. It's kind of a proposed what it looks like. It's actually a four-way intersection, but there's kind of a piece of Main Street here that continues past this intersection, a little smaller and offset from. So we're hoping to improve some safety, do a little bit of traffic calming at this intersection. Also, because this is located right in the middle of parks in the city of Carbondale, it's at the entrance or end of Main Street, the downtown, depending on which direction you're traveling. It's also kind of a key connection point between the neighborhood residential area and the downtown Main Street. The third thing that we're going to do here is a little bit of placemaking as well. So we saw this as an opportunity because it is kind of the northern gateway into Carbondale downtown. Potentially do some gateway signage, Carbondale, landscaping and things like that, just to have a little more pleasant entrance into the city. So we worked with a planning consultant, Durgan Edison, to develop this entire plan. They helped us develop just some very initial kind of conceptual design. So we have a rough idea of what we'd like to do ultimately, including closing that kind of small portion of street, making this really just kind of a two-point intersection, and then obviously introducing a traffic circle here to replace the traffic signal. And engineering. We also have an alternative plan if the traffic circle is not feasible, that keep the existing traffic signal there, use for the safety improvements, things like that. So that's the plan, kind of in a nutshell. Michelle, is there anything you wanted to add about?
Sure. The roundabout is right at the intersection of 171 and Route 6. Route 6 goes right through Main Street and then turns up, continues up the hill to Canaan. However, it turns off onto 171 and goes north to Core City and Simpson and all those areas. So like Todd said, we're doing some placemaking. We want to soften it up, make it a little pretty, welcome people into town. It's right at the trail, the trailhead of the Black Heritage Valley Trail. In addition to that, Bradley Railroad Park is right across the street, and then there's a skate park, and then we're planning at the amphitheater in that area as well. So our main focus is safety, but at the same time, and aesthetic improvements as well, just to make it pretty and make it like a hometown.
It's the YMCA, Carbondale YMCA is located right at this intersection too. And the YMCA is kind of on one side of the street, they've got a parking lot, so they see a lot of pedestrian traffic.
And they recently bought the YMCA as well. So we're using that structure.
So yeah, we just want to share a little bit about the project. If anybody had any questions or some initial input, naturalize, just kind of kicking off some of the feasibility work here at this intersection. Yes, other details to share.
I think just moving forward, original PennDOT, maybe there's an opportunity for multimodal application, either through PennDOT or DCED on other things about that, and that's funding here on CSCO.
Yeah.
Funding might not be the best for having an MPO, but multimodal is. By those windows open. I'm not sure our multimodal DCED would.
Spring for us,
We come around the corner, so can't hurt to put an application in, and even if you don't get it, at least you're on the record.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Rich, we did about a traffic study for the whole downtown area because nothing's been done since the road city. That traffic downtown. Might be something.
Yeah, I mean, that could be an option too, and there could be some planning funds to look at, doing the study here, and taking a corridor approach.
Might enhance it.
Sure, because it shows corridor approach, and this is part one, and eventually there'll be a part 2, 3, whatever. You could show you're taking it from, planning, not just say, we need money for this trip. You do, but say it.
What do we approach first? Yeah.
Well, we'd have to see what kind of funds are available. Something that PennDOT would necessarily do unless there's a specific concern about accidents or big houses or things like that. That might be something to start with, like, one account, I don't know what your thoughts are. Assistance and understanding.
It's our math program at DCD, which is what I handle. We could look at a small area and possibly get 50% funding for that.
So I'd say for Mayor, why don't you reach out to our office here, we could share information. And then Chris is with DCED, maybe he can share information too on multimodal and also PennDOT Connects and potential for if there's any, there may be planning funds out of this MPO to do a traffic study.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to that note, up in the northern tier region, which is, Susquehanna and Wyoming and District 4, we just performed a mobility study that was funded through supplemental funds out of the UPWP. So that was through, I know that's a lot of acronyms I'll throw around. Yeah.
It'll be
But
very clear in the minutes.
spelled out. That would be with these folks, they coordinated it through the MPO. And that basically looked at kind of what you're getting at there through, it looked at all aspects of Tunkhannock and connecting pedestrian access with bike and with, parking, and it looked at all of it. But that sets you up nicely, like we said, for potential funding sources in the future, because you're spelling out exactly what you need to put in an application. Kind of like what you have.
Thank you so much.
Map would be the same plus here. We get for your multi-mission plan.
Right.
So.
Okay, thanks so much.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the time. Reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you, Dean. Could someone online verify that we're still here?
I got you. I was talking with
Okay.
mute on. It's strike 4.
So,
Dean, I'm gonna come out of retirement.
Oh, boy, that bad, huh? So anyway, down to discussion item E, update for the 2025 planning partners. I don't really have a update on planning partners. I believe we have a couple planning partner call coming up, But I was mentioning to myself here just a second ago that we are about ready to commence on the 2027 program update. I had an in-house meeting today on the general and procedural guidance about some of the things our federal partners want to see, some of the things we want to hit. I also believe that they do have a meeting scheduled for the financial work group for the 2027 financial guidance. Once again, I think we're going to try to get this out in quick order. It seems like that was a request we've had in the past so that people can react accordingly. So stay tuned if any of you were involved in the general and procedural guidance work group in the past or not, and you want to be, just send me an email and we can get you all involved in that. Is there any questions? Hearing none, I believe that'll take us down to discussion item F, safe streets and roads for all, and I believe that's Mary Liz and Dan.
Okay, so Lackawanna County, we are about 9 months into the plan, maybe a little bit more. We had a second steering committee meeting in November. Since we met back in October, we also had a booth for surveys at the Carbondalian Festival, which was quite an interesting event. And we actually did pretty well with surveys up there. At the steering committee meeting, we looked at some of the preliminary survey results, compared them with the crash data. And very interesting to say that the survey results in the crash data were almost spot on with particular interceptions that people were concerned about. We have a third steering committee meeting coming up on the 20th, and hopefully moving all along, the project will be wrapped up by the end of this year.
Great.
Thank.
Sorry, David.
No, I was just going to say thanks, Mary Liz. Anybody else want to add anything?
Well, I was just going to say, Luzerne County, we were awarded the county was, we're a few months behind. We did choose a consultant to assist us with this. The contract is going, I thought it was going to council tonight to be on the work session, but it won't be on until 28th. So hopefully by contract signed and we hit the ground running.
Thanks, Dan. Any questions for Dan or Mary Liz? Hearing none, I believe that'll take us down to discussion item G, the LLTS MPO website update and social media with Mr. Reese.
Yeah, so this is something that we've been talking about internally amongst the two staffs from Luzerne and Lackawanna counties, is updating. Our website hasn't been updated probably 2016. It's been a long time. Yeah, like when it was created, like we update it.
Probably created in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, so I mean it's a bear to update it on our end, and it just is lacking. Input. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just
updated in 2017.
Well, we update it, but it's a bear to update staff. And with the turnover that we've had in Luzerne County in the past years or so,
Months.
Recently and over the last few years, stuff has fallen to the wayside with that. We're no longer, I believe the original contract was through Lackawanna County.
It's expired.
And it's expired, so we just wanted to bring up the discussion of potentially updating the MPO's website. And then tying into that, having social media outreach. I know a lot of at least with the Safe Streets for All vendors that came to us, they talked about having this stuff put on Facebook. Well, we have a Facebook page, but that was created eons ago, and you can't get a human to get the login credentials. So we're going to have to create a Facebook page for the unfortunately,
There were actually two.
there were two. Oh, that's great. So now this will be the third.
Yes.
Start off fresh. Third time's a charm. Start off fresh. It's my plan to put together like a continuing operations plan for these sorts of things so that we're not, and I'll have login credentials. And hopefully we'll have more than one administrator for the MPO page and same thing with the website. So that we can pass it on as in the relay race that is planning those right now. So, and then tying into the website and the social media outreach. Currently, we have email addresses. We have LuzerneCounty.org email addresses. We're hoping that with an updated website, we would have one. You'd be able to contact us all at LLTS MPO. Something like that, just to consolidate it so we're not missing out. And then we could, on the website, then we could have, instead of reaching out to a specific person, I can reach out to info@LLTSMPO.org and it'll go out to a distribution. Whoever's in that distribution. So some tidying up and just keep technical side.
Info at TS is also taken. I think folks see between.
Seven LLTS MPO.
You better log in. I have a lot. There's a spot on the website where anyone could just type in something and it would go to that generally.
Yeah, well, we do. I did update it. We do get those. It's a lot of Russian spam.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, originally administrators was unlock one of them certain and that district had.
Yes. Okay. So that's just something to look forward to.
We can talk about the grounding games or some of the issues in the meantime.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Chris.
Is your thought to bring on a consultant to help do the website and start over? Or is there somebody you have in-house or?
Well, Luzerne's currently updating its website. I was hoping we could tie into that by having a new, but we have a URL or copy of the existing URL, try to get that. Yeah, so hopefully we can get that and then migrate it.
Thanks, Dan. Any other questions for Dan? That'll bring us down to discussion item H, organizational MPO structure discussion. I got Dan and Mary Liz for this.
So yeah, so Mary Liz and I have been we've been talking about this ever since I've been put into the interim position as the Luzerne County Planning and Zoning Director. We've talked internally. We joined the Association of MPOs. It's a national association. We've learned that there are some nuances how our MPO is currently set up. It's split between 50-50 between the UPWPs are split 50-50 between Luzerne and Lackawanna counties, and just seeing if we want to look into if there's any desire from the technical committee or the coordinating committee staffs to see if we could go after consultants to see if, find the way we are, but there's other ways that we could be functioning as. It's still like an up in the air sort of thing. If we go from the counties or join another organization in the region, but it's more of a regionalization conversation.
Yeah, we're interested to see what that would look like if there were any right now the Lackawanna counties, on with the funding that we get from the MPO. We're not sure, but we're certainly open to looking at the study to see. Our biggest concern is our turnover. County salaries, we can't keep qualified people.
One of the benefits to going to people higher at market rate, or not quite at market rate, but higher than what we could. But
You
then
say independent, what do you mean?
independent from the counties, so we would still represent the counties. They won't be coming. We wouldn't be counting.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about being an independent planning.
No.
Okay.
Well, we did that.
This was something that Matt Smoker brought up several years ago, and said that FHWA was willing to reimburse. It came up during a certification review, correct, Steve? Right, that, they had talked about that there was almost too much conflict of interest by being part of the county themselves. The county should be part of the board and all those represented stakeholders should be part of the committees, but maybe the employees shouldn't be part of the counties. Yeah. So it would almost be similar to what NEPA's structure is, where they have an independent.
They have
like,
You
CEO.
don't have voting rights, you can't serve on the technical committee board.
You're not a county employee.
No, I mean, we're a nonprofit, so we're nonprofit employees, but all of our county planning directors serve on our committees. So it takes some of the conflict out of it because the staff is not representing any of our counties. We have.
Center region is the same thing. The planners are paid by going through everybody with the UPWP monies, but they're separate from.
When I worked with Keith, he took that to the county council.
There's desire. Administration.
Yeah, our commissioners are just listening right now. And I think a common thing that here in the planning is to support planning staff. And if you can't compete for salary, keep qualified.
I think the worry for each county is they worry that you're going to lose some of their power. As long as you have the proper members on the committees, you're still going to have the same voting rights as you do.
Exactly.
This is what happens when Steve Petunia retires after 40 years.
Yeah.
It goes to pot. I don't think we're gonna get anybody that's, well, myself, once I go, that's it.
That may be a discussion too for Dean and for those folks at central office that I'm sure they entertain the idea of looking at it, sure.
Yeah, no, we wanted to bring it. Just a secret.
Central office has always been pushing us to do that.
Okay.
Out of the UPWP.
Yeah.
So Dan, were you talking the structure of the MPO or the structure of the committees, or both?
I'm not leaving anything off the table.
Okay. Okay. We've always at central office, PennDOT, have had the position as long as we get our votes, that local makeup of the MPO, as long as you're hitting your federal requirements with having your transit provider, is pretty much a local decision.
Yeah.
You know. It's good conversation, I guess.
Get it out there. Get it in the ether.
Any other questions for Dan on item H, organizational MPO structure discussion? Hearing none, I'll move down to discussion item I, Neve Community Charging Program Survey Update. Robert?
Okay, thank you, Dean. As per the PennDOT NEVI program, we've been instructed to get some information and feedback as to where people would like to see charging stations in both Lackawanna and Luzerne County. So on our website, we have posted this survey form where anyone can go on there and recommend locations as part of the survey. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to run till June to check on that. But once we get the data back, we will compile it, send it back to PennDOT. So if anybody could help us out and go and fill that survey out, it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. That'll take us down to discussion item J, Long Range Transportation Plan Update. And I see Casey's on the call. So Casey, I believe I was going to turn this over to you.
Great, thanks, Dean. Rob, did you have anything before I jumped in? I didn't want to cut
Just
you
a
off.
question. Would you like to share your screen or would you like me to share it?
I can share real quick unless it's easier for you.
That'd be good if you could share yours.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, just give me 1 second here. All right. Does everything look good on your side?
No.
Uh-oh. Hang on, give me 1 second.
You have to use Teams.
Okay.
See, we can see your screen online.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see your screen, Casey.
Okay. Rob, is it looking good for you guys in the room or?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Casey Bodiger with the Michael Baker team. Just going to provide a brief update on the status of the update of the long range transportation plan for the region. And since we last briefed the MPO, there's been a lot of good things underway and we've made a lot of good progress. One of the big milestones was the completion of the background profile chapter of the plan. We're kind of referring to it as just a chapter, more like that front end piece. And I believe the last time we were here, we reviewed some of the findings from that. That has since been vetted with the MPO staff, and we are in the process of addressing the comments that they had on the draft. And once we have the opportunity to get those all cleaned up and squared away, we're going to go ahead and share this with the steering committee so they can have an opportunity to dive in, share some other insights that maybe we're missing, or if there's anything that needs to be checked. So I know there's a couple people on the call today that are on that steering committee, so just keep an eye on your inboxes. That'll be coming here super soon. Another big milestone that we've completed since the last MPO meeting was a series of stakeholder interviews with the region's transportation stakeholders. It was a good cross-section, and Steve Thomas, who's on the call with me today, did a great job kind of interviewing a cross-section of a great mix of stakeholders across a bunch of different interest areas. Those interviews, we held a total of 23, and the results of that have been summarized in the form of a set of initial action strategies. And these are some ideas that we heard from the stakeholders, and they have been developed based on that interview output. They were organized across the federal planning factors that are outlined in the federal planning rule. And we've since presented them to both the staff as part of our routine monthly management team meetings, as well as with the steering committee at our last meeting, which took place last week on the 8th. So we received some comments back through those discussions, and we're in the process of refining those. And there'll be further vetting of those initial action strategies as we wrap up addressing those comments and getting those other ideas incorporated in. So we'll be sending out, along with the background profile, that the update to those strategies, and with the additional input that we received, that'll be sent out to the steering committee as well for their review. I also noted here on the slide that there will be further vetting with the public, and that is another upcoming milestone. We're in the process of trying to get a series of what we call regional listening sessions scheduled, and this offers an opportunity for the public to come out, share their concerns about transportation in the region, whether that's a certain intersection or a certain stretch of roadway, and it is a multimodal plan, so we're accepting input obviously on any mode of transportation. The way that we typically structure these and kind of the path that we're mapping out right now, no pun intended, is we'll kick off the meeting with kind of a brief presentation, give the public and the other attendees in the room an opportunity to hear about what this long-range transportation planning process is about, what the MPO is and what the role of the MPO is in the transportation planning process, and then move into an opportunity to share their concerns. And this, we typically use two different avenues with that. We'll use like Google Earth and PennDOT Type 10 maps, where we'll lay them out in the room so people can either physically mark up a map, or we can drop pins in real time as the conversation's happening. So it's kind of one part presentation, one part facilitated discussion. We have a couple of proposed locations that we're coordinating with, and we're anticipating these will be on the calendar in early to mid-February. I believe that's everything I have. I'd be happy to take any questions. Otherwise, I'll let the meeting move along.
Okay. Casey, just so I'll state the obvious, our target to have this all completed is January 2026. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct. We have until early 2026, but obviously we want to have a draft done a little bit before then, just obviously for contingency purposes, and make sure we have enough time to, you know, go through the public comment period and address any other concerns. So.
Thanks, Casey. Any questions for Casey or anyone else about the long range transportation plan?
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
That'll take us down to discussion item K, funding and grant opportunities. Robert, got you down, buddy.
Yep, funding and grant opportunities. The first one is, even though it closes tomorrow, I see evidence that it may be extended. It's a 2025 Tribal Transportation Program Safety Fund. This is to help tribes to identify transportation safety needs and determine how these needs will be addressed in their tribal communities. Like I said, there's little evidence on there that will be extended. Next one is the Protect, which is promoting resilience operations for transformative, efficient, and cost-saving transportation program. This closes next month, February 24th. This seeks to strengthen surface transportation to be more resilient to natural hazards. Some of those natural hazards are like coastal flooding and also just regular flooding. Lastly, we have the Bus Safety and Accessibility Research Competitive Program. This closes in 3 days, but this is research funding to make existing and new buses safer for their operators and vulnerable road users, and also safer and more accessible for their passengers. And that is like research funding for people that have ideas for more safe buses. And that'll do it.
Thanks, Robert. Just on a side note, PennDOT does now have a full-time tribal relations coordinator in BEQ here in central office. Her name is Hannah Harvey. So if you have any questions relating to tribal relations, you can send me an email and I'll get you in touch with her. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Moving down to progress reports. And we got the 2025 LLTS MPO hybrid meeting schedule of April 8th, 2025 will be our next meeting, July 8th, 2025. Meeting after that and October 7th. And I believe too early to name a place, Robert?
We hope it's here, but we'll definitely let you know.
I'll try to make the next one in person.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
That'd be nice. Nice to be wanted.
Robert, just the new building down the LCK training meeting room.
Wi-Fi? Okay, thank you so much.
Richard, like it's closer to his.
Yeah, I like it at the airport. It's a little shorter drive to Utopia down here in South Central PA.
Thank you for that offer.
Here, no questions on the meeting schedule. Do I have anything else? Item 5, other business?
Hey, Dean, this is Gene from Federal Highway. Well, I realize that discussion that Matt Smoker had with the MPO and probably central office, kind of predates my time here with the MPO. But I think those discussions, on an organizational MPO structure are good to have. In terms of just kind of taking a look at over time, like, what works, what doesn't work. Do all the MPO members feel like the representation is sufficient, that everyone has a voice in the decisions that were being made, et cetera? So, those conversations can certainly be valuable, and I certainly would encourage those discussions to the extent that they could benefit the MPO and their planning activities, as well as their workings with PennDOT and the federal partners.
Thanks, Gene, for that input. I will say I've seen in other areas where they've changed their structure. Some works very well. Some others, they have trouble with the new people showing up. So it's just something to consider. So.
Dean, this is John Petrin. I got something real quick. Just to let everybody know that we are conducting our next municipal outreach program. That's on April 8th at 9:30 in the morning at our office. Oh, and also virtual watch. We will be sending out a flyer with all that information going forward, but just to get on everybody's radar.
The date and time again?
9:30.
How long is that? Is it RMPOs in the afternoon?
Yeah, it's I think it's 9:30 to 11.
Thanks, John.
Start the day.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else for the good of the order? Hearing nothing, Mary Liz, do you want me to make a motion to adjourn?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Steve McMahon, I'll second.
Thank you, Kate. Steve, are you going to second that?
Sure.
I think even that,
Oh,
I'll give you a call, Dean, and give you used to practice.
Oh, boy. All in favor? Opposed?
I'll make a motion, Bob.
Motion from the coordinating committee to adjourn, but second, Mark, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you all for having me.
Our pleasure.
See you in April.